My name is Brennen. I was born in Colorado Springs, and then I left when I was a little kid and grew up in San Francisco. And I've been in Denver for like 12 years now. How'd I end up in Denver? Oh, I quit my corporate job, so I wanted to be close to my family, and they lived down in the Springs. So I moved to Denver in 2010, 2011, somewhere in there. Oh man, my first actual concert, I was like friends with these dudes. They're a little older than me, and they took me to go see Jurassic 5 play the Fillmore. That was the first actual concert I went to, and I was 15 years old at the time. No, I grew up loving music. I like ever since I was little. You know, I'd have the Walkman on, my headphones on. I'd go to bed at night, and I grew up with music kind of like just in me. And I've been around music my whole life. When I discovered electronic music, it wasn't something that was very readily available. Like, it was very much so very fringe music. It was only found really in like raves. The internet really wasn't really even a thing that much. When I started getting into the industry or starting to wanting to do something for real, it came from like performing my own music. And I never thought that was possible really. Like back then you weren't getting paid as a DJ, you weren't making money as a DJ. It wasn't like a career choice. There was no path to be like a rock star as like a DJ. That was like, even the biggest DJs, they weren't doing what they're doing now. It was something that was never really on the plate for me or never really in the cards for me. But I was 16 years old. I discovered electronic music through some friends and became obsessed with it because it was different. It was underground, and I saved up, bought my first pair of turntables when I was 17. And then I'd go to the record store, and I get paid every 2 weeks. So the money that I didn't have for the records, like the guy let me have a little cubby there, so I had a little layaway section. I grew up thinking I was the worst DJ on earth because I had the turntables. I was the kid that had the turntables. So when people would have parties, I'd be like the DJ. But all I did was upset everybody every time I DJ'd because I never had any records that anybody knew, and then if any people would come up and ask me about, I don't know, whatever the next 50 Cent record was, and I didn't have it. Obviously, I was disappointing everyone. I don't think anybody enjoyed any music I ever played, and ever, really. It took a long time. I don't know how long. I don't even know why I even DJ'd, to be fair. But I never thought it was real. Until I had a record go viral on MySpace, and I had these DJs hit me up at the time, and I didn't know they were real big DJs until I saw Ultra get announced. And some of these DJs that had hit me up for my records on MySpace were playing the festival, and I was just like, whoa, these DJs were hitting me up on MySpace for my record. Maybe I can do this, right? Something I knew I could write music. And when you get that sign off when like a big name plays your record or wants your music and is gonna play it in front of people or whatever, it kind of gives you that hope that maybe there's something more there than just being somebody that's just never really gets a chance to share their music with the world. So I just decided one day to quit my job, and I was like, well, I'm just gonna do music full time because these other guys are doing it and they're playing my music, then maybe I have a chance. So I started throwing parties because I loved a certain style of music that wasn't really getting represented in the city at the time. There were two things that happened. No one would book me because back then, very hard for artists to get gigs in other cities when they just moved there. It's very hard for people to play the clubs. Like a lot of clubs will just be like, no, this is our resident. For the promoters, like, this is my friend, this is who plays every show. And it was very kind of gridlocked like that in Denver. So that combination, combined with the fact that there weren't really any like house music shows to play anyway, made me start throwing house music shows. So I tried to identify like what made me want to go to a show. And so for me, what made me want to go to a show if I didn't know the music. So if you don't know the music, then you don't know the show. What is gonna get you to go to the show to hear the music that you don't know, right? So for me, 9 times out of 10, I was like, if I'm gonna go with a friend that I trust, if a friend's like, hey, I got this Brazilian polka band that's playing kazoos over here, I might not be down for the music, but if I like my friend, I'm gonna go because it's an experience with my friend. So I was like, all right, what I can do is I can create something different for the city by giving people a say in what they want to have booked. So I would go to shows and I would try to identify people I wanted to party with. I wasn't interested in hanging out with people that showed up 5 minutes before the headliner. I could connect more with people that knew music and cared about music. I would go to shows, any type of electronic show when I lived here. I'd show up at doors and I'd watch people. They can only be there early for a couple of reasons. One, they're dating the bass player. Two, I couldn't imagine the second reason, but the other reasons are pretty positive. Say they did their research. They're like, yo, I like the opening act. Or the other side is, hey, I'm there early because I paid $25 for this show. I want to see the whole show. And I could identify with that small contingent of people more than I could identify with the other people. So I'd walk up to these strangers. I'd say, hi, my name is Brennen. I got this idea. You want to come to the bar? I'll buy you a drink and I'll tell you my idea. And I was 29, 30 years old, somewhere in there. So I was already old and creepy at that time in the first place. So like some people it worked out, some people it didn't, but the people that were down to hear the idea, I walk up to them, buy them a drink, get to the bar and be like, how would you like to book your own show? I'm gonna start throwing these parties and I'm gonna give everybody the ability to vote on what we're gonna book. On top of that, I'm gonna let you in free to the party. So I had a private website and I put 100 people in this group. When I'd go to these shows, I'd walk up to these dudes like Peter Washington and be like, yo, here's my idea. He's like, dude, I go to all these shows. I'm a blogger. I take videos and photos of DJs. I do all my research. I love this music. Like, I love this idea. Totally want to be involved. I'm like, awesome. Nice to meet you, Pete. You're number 8. Like the next day, I get a text. Hey, listen, I told my friend about this. They really love the idea. They want to be it. All of a sudden, it was like wildfire. I had the 100 filled. So I went to the mountains. I went to a metal manufacturing company and I got 100 dog tags made with numbers stamped into them individually. I just had this bulletin board where no one had names. They all just had numbers. So you log in, you're number 47. You're like, we should book so-and-so for the first time. We should book so-and-so for the first time. My only rule was that we're only going to book people that never played Denver before. The main reason was I couldn't book anybody big because I didn't have any money. It also prevents people from being like, I think we should book John Summit. That would be a good show. It stops people from thinking they can book something way too big for the 200 cap room that I was in. So I had a 200 cap room in Denver. It's called Your Mom's House right now. It used to be Beauty Bar at the time, RIP. And that's where the 100 started. And so I go to throw the first show and 100 people came. The 100 is finally starting. Well, I'm meeting them too for the first time. Half of them I'm meeting, you know. Dig it through my backpack. Nice to meet you. I'm Brennan. You're Rachel. Cool. What's your social media? Awesome. You're number 77. Here you go. You're number 82. Okay, cool. You're number 40. You're number... And everybody is now wearing these dog tags. They were way too heavy at the time. I think they weighed like, they were solid steel. They weighed like a count. They were like giving people neck issues. But the crazy thing about it is that's how we got into the parties for free. But when we talked about it before, what makes you go to a show? If you trust your friends saying, hey, I got this cool thing I'm gonna go to, then you're gonna go to the show and you're gonna buy a ticket. So even though I let those 100 people in for free, the other 150 people, they all bought tickets. And so we were able to pay for the shows by the ticket sales. But more importantly, we just had instantly built this community where they finally had a say in what they wanted booked. The chatter started going online and I didn't not sell out a show for 2 years. That was how I started promoting. Funny you mentioned that because I actually had a conversation with myself the other day that I'm actually not working hard enough right now. And I had a very serious conversation with myself in the mirror, we'll say metaphorically, about that. Because the hunger that you have when you don't have rent, food, bills paid, car getting repoed, like that hunger of where you're sacrificing everything and you're kind of like consumed with the pressure of making something work can be some of the most exciting times and can be some of the most rewarding times. And if we're being candid, I feel like one of my struggles lately is finding that hunger again. Or like how can you find that hunger if you're not hungry, right? It's a different motivational side of things right now. And I think that when you get obsessed with something and you're doing everything you can to make something work to the point where you live, eat, breathe, sleep that craft, you will find new ways to invent things. You will find new ways to improve things. You'll find ways of standing out in that field, in that passion, in that whatever you're trying to pursue. The humility the perceived humility that apparently I can give off. I think that it stems from knowing that at any given point in time, it can go back to that. Even though things can look more successful on the outside of things, you know, people used to come up to me the first 6-7 years I was doing this. Oh man, you're killing it, crushing it. I can't believe how successful everything is. And in the back of my mind, I'm sitting there going, do you have like $9 I can borrow so I can pay for parking? You know, it's like, it's really easy to stay humble when you know that, you know, at any time it could go away. And I don't think that there's any shame or there's no shame in the hustle. The journey is just as exciting as like any of the rewards or any of the goals that you try to achieve. You guys think you guys got what you need? Okay, good. I hope you guys got what you guys. Okay, good.
A lot to it.
Hey, love you, bro.